Tonight I thought I might try something a little different. For Valentine's Day, I made my wife a necklace holder, and I'll show you a quick photo of it. My daughter saw that and just fell in love with it. She's got a bunch of necklaces. She would like something to hang them on in her walk-in closet. So her name starts with the letter G, and I found this fancy G on, I believe it was Pinterest, and I thought I would just take this piece of oak and lay this out on here, get it glued to the oak, and take it to my scroll saw. I'm going to cut this out, shape it, and turn this into a necklace holder. When I want to attach a pattern to a board, I've just been using this glue stick. I know a lot of people use a spray adhesive, but this has worked well for me, and if it works, then why not use it? I like this because I can color all over the back of this, and it changes to purple, and then when it dries, it goes back to a clear color, so I can see where I've got the glue and make sure I get good coverage all across my pattern. So now let's just get it positioned on here. Make sure that I'm close to the edge, but not over the edge. All right, I'm happy with that placement, so press it down. Once I've got the pattern glued to the board, the next step I like to do is take some clear packing tape and cover the entire pattern. This helps to hold the pattern in place in case the glue kind of gets a little flaky, but it also helps to lubricate the blade. I'm going to go ahead and put a second layer of packing tape on this, just going in the opposite direction. The next step is to put a hole in each of these two sections because they are completely closed in. I need to be able to get a blade through the wood to be able to cut these areas out. I'm just going to use an 1/8 inch drill bit. This is not small and intricate, so I can use any size bit. 1/8 inch is a great size. My blade will go right down through the hole. And I'm not going to bother using a drill press. I'm just going to go ahead and use a hand drill on these because the holes don't have to be super accurate or straight, and a hand drill will be just fine. Since the wood I'll be cutting is 3/4 inch oak, I've chosen a 9.5 teeth per inch blade. Now this is a thick blade, but it's going to give a really smooth cut. I've also set up a fan over here on my bench, and I've got it blowing across the table. And what this is going to do is any dust that accumulates and blows up into the air around this area here where my face will be as I'm cutting, it's going to blow that on away from the table and out away from me. So to make it a little bit nicer to cut, I won't be breathing all of this dust. There's the basic G. Now what I'm going to do is remove my blade and feed it through these holes and go ahead and cut these sections out. One of the things I like best about using the glue sticks is the ease at which you can remove the pattern from the wood. I'm over at the spindle sander and I've put in a little bit larger than normal disc, and I'll use that for the outside area of the G. Once I get the entire outside area complete, I'll swap this out for a little smaller disc. Now the reason why I don't just start out with a smaller disc is because with the smaller disc, as you're doing a large area like this, if you happen to pause, it's very easy to sand a little divot into your wood, and I really don't want to do that. But I have no choice on the inside but to use those, so we'll make that work. The other thing that I want to do is I want to try my best to round over a little bit these hard edges. Just sort of round them over and soften them up. So I'll be working on that as well. I'll start the sander up and start out sanding the outside of this, and then I'll probably shut the camera off. I'm not going to make you watch all the sanding, and I'll come back and show you what it looks like when I've got it cleaned up and sanded. Shaping and rough sanding is complete. The drums I used on my sander were 80 grit. Now what I'm going to do is go after this with some hand sandpaper. I'll probably start out with about 100, 120, somewhere in there, and I'll work my way down to 220 and really just kind of clean it up and get some files. I got a couple of tight corners that were difficult to get into. I'll get them rounded over with some files and cleaned up with sandpaper. And once I get that done, I'll come back, show it to you, and then we'll get a finish on it. Sanding's complete, and I've decided to use a little golden oak stain. I'm going to go ahead and apply that just with a rag. We'll let it dry, and then I'll wipe it off, and then we'll let it sit overnight and finish drying, and we'll come back tomorrow and put a couple of coats of shellac on it. The G has been setting for about 15 minutes. And I think the stain is soaked in pretty good. So what I'm going to do now is just wipe off any excess that there might be. And then we'll put this aside, then we'll let it dry overnight. I'm going to finish my G with a little bit of clear shellac. Now I like to take that shellac and mix it in a separate container 50-50 with a little denatured alcohol. I'll brush it on, let it dry, and then I'll apply 2 more coats for a total of 3 coats. I've mixed up 4 tablespoons of shellac with 4 tablespoons of denatured alcohol. Now I'm going to go ahead and brush this on and get the first coat covering my workpiece. I've got the first coat of shellac applied. A couple of nice things about diluting it 50-50 with the denatured alcohol. One is you get very few runs. I usually paint the inside and the outside first, then I come back and I paint the top, and you'll see the shellac run over the sides, but because of the denatured alcohol, it's so thin that it does not leave a run mark. Another nice feature is, since it's diluted, the alcohol will evaporate and the shellac will dry very quickly. So probably 15-20 minutes, I'll be ready to put another coat on this. I just finished applying the 3rd coat of shellac. I'm going to let this sit overnight and dry really well, and I'll come back tomorrow and I'll add a hanger on the back and some cup hooks on the front. I've allowed the shellac to dry overnight, and now what I'm going to do is add some of these little gold cup hooks all around the G for her to hang her necklaces on. Here's the finished G hanging on the wall of my daughter's closet. She has not seen it yet. She's upstairs playing, but I'm hoping later she'll come down and find it, and it'll be a nice little surprise. I'd like to thank everybody for following along with me on this project. I had a really nice time doing it. I want you to know that you are always welcome in my shop. Come back and see me again real soon. Have a great evening, guys.